Please come to order for the regular meeting of the Ascension Parish Council, June 7th, 2018. Please stand for the invocation to be given by Councilman Randy Cluot and the pledge to follow.
In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, as we come upon the hot days of summer, let us look toward our neighbors. Let's look toward the elderly. Let's see if we can help someone. And Lord, please look over us in the region as we come upon the hurricane season. Please take care of those that are in need, especially the disabled and the elderly. Finally, Lord, let's continue to have your hand on the shoulder of all the people in emergency, medical, law enforcement, and military. Guide them as they are trained. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, we have Councilman Benny Johnson, not present, and Councilman Joseph is here somewhere. Chair's additions. First, I've got a little announcement. Since we're on the West Bank, there's an open house public meeting concerning LA 70 and intersection of LA 70 and 3121. That's going to be Wednesday, June the 20th, 2018, 5:30 p.m. At the City of Donaldsonville Council Chambers. So if you live close to that, please try to attend. Second thing we have under the chair's additions, we have a resolution that I received today from the West Ascension Parish Hospital Service District requesting us to pass a resolution to place an item on the November 2018 ballot. This is going to be this addition to the agenda, so it will be something that takes unanimous consent of the members. I'd sent this out earlier via email. Does anybody have any objections? Are there objections?
Object.
Have one objections, but this will not be placed on the agenda. Public comment sign-in period. If you'd like to comment on an agenda item, please come and get a card and turn that in to Ms. Marcotte. And presentations tonight, Mr. President.
Tonight we have Men's Health Week. Come up, please, Ms. Johnson. Okay. We have a proclamation, whereas despite advances in medical technology and research, men continue to live an average of 5 years less than women. That's not good. With Native American and African American men having the lowest life expectancy, and educating the public and healthcare providers about the importance of healthy lifestyles and early detection of male health problems will result in reducing rates of mortality from diseases. And whereas men who are educated about the values of the prevention health, can play in prolonging their lifespan and their roles in productivity of life. Family members will be more likely to participate in health screening, and whereas fathers who maintain a healthy lifestyle, a role model for their children, are happier and healthier for their children, and whereas in conjunction with Men's Health Month, St. Elizabeth Hospital is hosting an annual men's health breakfast on Tuesday, June 14th,
2018 at Cabela's second floor conference room from 7:30 until 9 a.m. with the topic, Your Brain Matters, containing information on staying healthy by keeping your brains healthy and in shape. Therefore, I, Kenny Matassa, President of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, by authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim June 2018 as Health Men's Month in Ascension Parish.
This is Miss Charlotte Johnson with St. Elizabeth Hospital.
And we need to let them know that they have to register online.
Yeah, I'll be glad to do that. Absolutely. So I want to thank the parish president and the council members for proclaiming June 11th through the 18th as Men's Health Week. And I believe creating a healthy community is a priority for Ascension Parish. Currently for the state, we rank 3rd overall in both quality of life and length of life. And that number sounds pretty good till you realize Louisiana ranks 43 in the health outcomes compared to other states. So in our community, we should be surrounded by conditions that enable us to live the healthiest life possible, no matter which side of the Mississippi River Bridge you live on. And access to healthy foods, quality schools, affordable and stable housing, good jobs, fair pay, and safe places to engage in physical activity for all age groups is imperative to thrive. So as great as we are, we have room for improvement, and the decisions you make as leaders impact the community's health behaviors as well as our environmental conditions. And we have persistent barriers to health, but together we can incrementally see the change for all our residents. And so you might not know this, but 1 man in 5 die before the age of 65, and that's not good at all. And so really the things that we do to improve our heart health are also the same things that we can do to improve our brain health, like physical activity and diet. So there's one correction to President Matassa's proclamation. It's Thursday, June 14th. It is at Cabela's, and it's a ticketed event, and it can you can get the ticket by calling 225-621-2906, and that's the Community Education Department at St. Elizabeth. And so we're excited to be able to host this, and Dr. Gerald Callaghan is a neurologist, and he specializes in brain health. And particularly, I've heard him speak before, and his topic on food and nutrition as it relates to brain will change the way you think about how you eat. So I would encourage everyone to take the opportunity to do that, encourage other colleagues, and if you have if you're a female and you have a husband or a son, I think it's important to make sure that they're engaging in healthy behavior. So we want to thank you all.
Sure. Do you have some other brochures for them?
I did not. I just brought this one, but I can leave this.
Leave that, and we will we'll make sure to email it to everybody on the county.
Oh, Terry. Oh,
John,
she ain't gonna miss out on this one.
John's gonna be the bookend on.
Come on, Travis.
I'll buy y'all a table.
All right. Councilman Turner. One more. All right, now you have to look at Haley.
I can't mess up his pictures anymore.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Sean.
Mr. Chairman,
No, this is much better.
Charlotte, could you come back to the microphone for a quick second?
Yes.
I would like for you to impress, you know, we take part in different health events and stuff, impress upon everyone the need for early detection. And the fact that if you haven't had heart trouble and you're 50 or 60, you still may want to see a heart doctor. You may want to get checked out.
I would agree. Councilman Kluwat, that it's very, very important that we make sure that we're doing all our preventive screenings. We have age-related screening things, so if you're 50 years old and you haven't done your colonoscopy, you need to get that done. You need to make sure that you're visiting and doing your annual checkups and making sure that our hearts are healthy. When the statistics line up and we already know how we rank health-wise and we just don't take the right considerations, our lives are busy, the stresses that we cause between work, and I'm sure even the things that we pile on. I mean, even though they're not all volunteer activities, the services that we do still add stressors in our life, which cause us to go into a cascade of negative outcomes. So I'd encourage everyone to really practice what we preach and be role models for your constituents as well. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, Council, tonight we have with us the,
This is the Louisiana Hoyas travel basketball team.
Okay.
and they won the Capital City Classic Invitational Basketball Tournament in Jackson, Mississippi. I would like the coach to come up and the team can, as we call you up for these achievement certificates. Coach Devin Allen, is that
Yes, sir.
you?
Yes,
Okay, well, here's the, which one? Okay,
How y'all doing?
Hey,
so this is yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate you very much. All right. Okay, see, we got 'em right here.
Let's coast around.
Congratulations. Thank you. Mr. Coach James Jones. Right here.
First, we're gonna call Mr. Rand Otis.
Stay up there, give him time to take a picture.
Next, Mr. Dejon Williams. Mr. Jace Woodridge. Jakai Allen. Landon Daniels. Tariq Jupiter. Ja'Cory Mitchell. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, well, you want to take it? Okay. All right, let's congratulate these. Okay. Some of them are here?
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
Okay.
Practice after this. Lewis Woodridge.
Lewis?
He wasn't expecting that. And Brandon Daniels.
You want to say a few words, Coach?
And Coach James Jones. He's in here, so.
Yeah. Got it. Congratulations, Coach.
First of all, I want to thank you all for this prestige honor and by honoring our team. It takes a lot of hard work on them kids' part, and I'm just glad they can get recognized and appreciated and keep going and keep them on the right path and keep them in the right direction. we strive, hard work, and dedication, and hopefully, as they get in their adult life, they can take that on, school, whatever their heart desires. And once again, I want to appreciate you all for this prestige honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Councilman Turner. Do you see what it takes here?
Students.
Take me 20 minutes to get back.
Joseph, can I push you in a little bit? No, not you. You good. You good. There you go. There you go. Who's covering their faces? Cut that. We're gonna get him up. Would you move in just a little bit, sir? There you go. I don't have that wide angle in. Get a little bit further back. Okay, now you gotta wait for Halen.
My turn. Okay.
All right, Mr. President, you have a report? We have nothing tonight? Okay. We have the consent agenda, and Ms. Marcotte is sitting in for Ms. McKee tonight.
Adoption of the May 3rd, 2018 regular council meeting minutes. Adoption of the May 17th, 2018 regular council meeting minutes. Approval of substantial completion of CWEF project 2012 and 2013 chloramine boosters for IEC Sales and Service LLC. Approval of substantial completion of Hillaryville Treatment Plant aeration diffusers, Mitchell Contracting. Approval of intergovernmental agreement with the City of Donsonville for city capacity at St. Jude Subdivision Wastewater Treatment Plant. Approval of cooperative endeavor agreement between the Parish of Ascension and Ascension Youth Basketball Association. Approval of contract with Young Rembrandts to administer an art program on behalf of Ascension Parish Recreation. Approval of cooperative endeavor agreement between Parish of Ascension and the City of Donsonville for baseball and softball programs.
Okay, thank you. Any desire by anyone to remove any item from the consent agenda? Got a motion by?
Move to agenda.
Motion by Councilman Kluwat. Second by Councilman Joseph. Any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none, the consent agenda is adopted. Item number 8, committee recommendations, approval of Exhibit B of the cooperative endeavor agreement with Ascension Wastewater Treatment to purchase capacity. Utility meeting recommendation, Mr. Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable council members. Tonight, what we're asking you to do is approve the cooperative endeavor agreement between Ascension Parish and Ascension Wastewater Treatment. We're purchasing 161,417 gallons per day of capacity from Ascension Wastewater. We're also purchasing a force main to the treatment plant that they already installed, And of course, then we're going to ask them to treat it for $3.50 per gallon. The original agreement that this was going to be an exhibit of, but again, this agreement is a standalone agreement. So it's called Exhibit B, but that's sort of historically inaccurate. But it started out to be an exhibit of a cooperative endeavor agreement. I gave you these little notebooks. That's the original cooperative endeavor agreement is in tab 2, if you'd like to look at it. Tab 3, so several council members asked me, well, what would 160,000 gallons per day cost if we were to build it ourselves? I got GSA to estimate the cost of a sewer treatment plant of about 160,000 gallons per day. They came up with a cost of $890,000 to $1 million, a little over $1 million, but that was with no land costs. So it's going to cost us about. I looked at the budget of one plant that we already operate that's 49,000 gallons a day, and a new plant would cost us about $15,000 a month to operate as well. Treating it at $3.50 a gallon at full capacity is going to cost us about $17,000 a month. And we're going to receive sewer development fees as well. The Hollows of Dutchtown would conceivably or theoretically would have owed $490,000. However, they donated to the parish $631,000 in sewer infrastructure, which includes a collection system and a pump station. There's another subdivision currently being built, Myrtle Grove Townhomes. If you go up and down 73 and you count some of the commercial and residential properties, we should collect either in infrastructure or dollars somewhere in the neighborhood of $700,000. And finally, I wanted to bring your attention to tabs 5 and 6. Tab 5 is a cooperative endeavor agreement for basically the same thing that we're asking you to do today. We purchased 1,000 gallons based on 200 milligrams per liter of BOD at $1.72 in 2010. Tab 5 is the consent decree item that you just passed today. That was item E on the consent document. That's for $2.42 for the sewer that you're buying. So we just passed the exact same document on the consent item that we're asking you to pass with AWT today. So I'll be happy to answer any questions regarding the item.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kluat.
Yeah, I just want to let all the council members know that we've, multiple one of us on the Utilities Committee. This has been well vetted. We appreciate Mr. Daniels and the administration going back, and I feel that we have a pretty good deal right here for the cost per gallon versus having to go out. And those customers are ours, we already have. And with that, I'd like to make the motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Councilman Kluat, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Further discussion, questions? Any opposition?
Object.
Have opposition, Ms. Marcotte. A roll call, please.
Councilman Travis Turner.
Yes.
Councilman Doc Satterley.
No, because of FC.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Randy Kluat.
Yes.
Councilman Aaron Lawler.
No.
Councilwoman Terry Casso.
Yes.
Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman John Cagnolotti.
Yes.
Councilman Oliver Joseph.
Yes.
Councilman Bill Dawson.
Yes. Two nays. Motion carries. Item number 9, Personnel Committee recommendations. Mr. Cagnolotti, Vice Chairman of the Personnel Committee, filling in for that tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Council members, the Personnel Committee met on May 29th and conducted interviews with the following recommendations to be made. was one vacancy on the library board. We conducted interviews, and the Personnel Committee recommends Mr. Charles Lemon Jr. to a 5-year term.
So moved.
Got a motion by Councilman Oliver Joseph,
Second.
second by Councilman Kluart. Discussion, opposition?
I have a question, actually.
Sure.
And
Councilman
maybe
Law.
somebody, I see we have members of the library board here. Odd question, but I see that one of the candidates speaks Spanish. Do we have any employees of the library that are fluent in Spanish?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
We have several employees.
great. That's all I wanted. Thank you very much.
And we're not library board members, we're administration.
Sorry.
No problem.
Thank you. Any, Ms. Casso?
Yeah, I also wanted to address Aaron's question. The young woman who applied, who speaks Spanish, has offered to serve on the Strategic Initiatives Committee of the
Great.
library board, so she will also be participating.
Okay, great. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
I was going to mention that, Mr. Chairman. When we interviewed, we asked them if they'd be interested in serving in any other capacity, and we're very fortunate to have the caliber and quality of people that are applying for these positions.
Discussion, opposition? Hearing none.
Second, Mr. Chairman, recommendations for the Mental Health and Addictive Disorders Board. We recommend a new appointment of Wantana Turo for a 5-year term.
Got a motion by
Second.
Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilwoman Gill. Discussion, opposition? Appointments made.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Cagnolati. General business, item number 10, bid to accept the lowest responsive bid for the right to act as the official journal for Ascension Parish government. Darrell, we have Ms. Shivers on here.
Good evening. The Ascension Parish government is requesting approval to award a professional contract to MB Design Consultants LLC to provide construction administration services.
We got the wrong one, Darrell. This is the,
I'm sorry, official
this
journal.
is the official journal.
Excuse me. On May 29, 2018, the Purchasing Department received one bid for the right to act as official journal for Ascension Parish government. The bid was submitted by Gonzales Weekly Citizen. After review, the Ascension Parish Secretary recommends accepting the bid submitted by the Gonzales Weekly Citizen and to place it.
Second.
Got a motion by
Second.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert, second by Councilman Kluart. Discussion, questions, opposition?
Thank you.
Motion's adopted. Item number 11, approval of professional service contract administration services, re-roofing of the Ascension Parish East Courthouse and other buildings. Darrell.
The Ascension Parish government is requesting approval to award a professional services contract to MB Design Consultants LLC to provide construction administration services for the re-roofing of the Ascension Parish Courthouse and other buildings, and to authorize the parish president to enter into any applicable agreement or contract for this service.
So moved.
Got a motion by Councilman Joseph, second by Councilman Nalati. Mr. Kluart?
No, that's all.
I have a question myself. So, Darrell, is this is the same company that previously oversaw or had the contract administration for the re-roofing of East
I
and
don't
West
have that
Courthouse?
information, Bill. Are you
Now,
aware?
Ms. Johnson is here.
Good evening. Yes, sir. This is the firm that did oversee the last round of roofs. Yes, sir.
So, I mean, my experience with that wasn't pleasant, as you probably know. So I'm not sure whether was it the contract administration or was it, the contractor, but I didn't find their response during all that fiasco of the roof leaks was responsive.
Well, not to be contradictory, but to contradict, we did have an issue. They were responsive, both the contractor and the engineer did exactly what we asked of them. What I found out in the after action of the incident you're speaking about, that there were a lot of parties who intervened without going through our normal kind of procedure, which is project manager and then engineer owner's rep, that I would say sideways the actual recovery of that incident. So yes, there was some issues, but I think it was more a human intervention and sidewaysing of the process than the actual incident itself. Because the recovery itself was fairly rapid, and they were fairly responsive to it, both that and another issue that we had. But I will say that when that incident happened, both myself and the engineer were not contacted in a timely fashion. Actions were taken without our knowledge or instruction. Once we were notified, we did get on top of it. So I would say that we can't necessarily lay that at the feet of the engineer that represented us as the owner's rep. He was responsive when asked and helped every moment of the project at any point when he was asked to. That would be my feedback.
So not to be contradictory, but I was out there at 12 o'clock that night, and there were none of them there.
Well, I do know that they did have the representative the roofing that we were putting down, he was out there. I know the contractor did have folks he had on retention for that very purpose en route there. They were en route there. I think that there was, what I understood afterwards, because I was not even notified till the next day, that the folks that were there, what was happening, the records that were at risk, that there was a lot of anxiety about how rapid that was occurring. But I do say that there were folks on the ground and they were acting on it. I think there was some direction given to them that did not come from myself nor the owner's rep, that were taken that probably exacerbated some of the situation. And in reflection, we discussed it in-house, and we have talked about procedurally how that will happen in the future, and how communication should flow in the future so that we can make sure we limit and we can purely define who's liable, who's not, and where that lies, if incidents should happen in the future. Outside of that one thing, I would say that the project went very well, both roofs, and it was a pretty long and exhaustive. We had gone out to bid, then had the bid turned away for non-responsive because they didn't accept the addendum on it. So we knew when that happened, that put us 60 days behind automatically. We knew that we would be doing these roofs in the rainiest part, the worst part of the year to do them, actually. So we knew there was a high risk. We had put in place, they needed to have a weather plan. They had rain before that with no incident. We just had severe winds that day that pulled up that end of the tarp, and to the best of my knowledge, they did what they could in a timely fashion to get folks on the ground. Sometimes there are only so much things that you can mitigate, but I would say that the engineer was absolutely responsive every time we asked, and even leaning forward before I was.
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't experience that, and I was there. I was there for the full 2 days of it, and it was a terrible response as far as I was concerned. The rep was the only person there sitting in his truck. And if it hadn't been for the clerk of court, then those records would have been destroyed. A lot of them would have been destroyed. I don't want to get into
the folks that were on the ground there were told to cease and desist assisting the clerk, that she wanted her folks to do it, so that the response wasn't there is not fully an accurate picture. They were there. I think that the clerk had a bigger concern.
It was people that our purchasing people called out. It wasn't the people that worked for that company. I don't want to carry it in further than this, but
and I appreciate your viewpoint, Councilman. I do, and afterwards I went through a thorough after action when I found out that these things were taken. Actions were taken we weren't contacted with. But again, I cannot lay these at the feet of M&B Design because he was responsive. He did everything that we asked, and he was diligent. Any question I asked that I need to push back on the contractor against, he had our back. He worked diligently for us. So I will not lay this or what happened in that incident at his feet.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any further questions? Any discussion? So I'm going to oppose this myself. Do you want to have a roll call?
Councilman Travis Turner,
Yes. Yes.
Councilman Satterley,
No.
Councilman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Kluwat,
Yes.
Councilman Lawler,
No.
Councilwoman Casso,
No.
Councilman Todd Lambert,
No.
Councilman Cagnalotti,
Yes.
Councilman Bill Dawson,
No.
Councilman Oliver Joseph.
Yes.
I lost count.
5 days. 5 yeses.
Five, and it doesn't pass. 5-5 doesn't pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 12, approval of intergovernmental agreement between Ascension Parish Government, Ascension Parish Clerk of Court's Office, Assumption Parish Police Jury, Assumption Parish Clerk of Court, St. James Parish Government, St. James Parish Clerk of Court, and the 23rd Judicial District Attorney's Office to share the cost of a courier to pick up and deliver documents, files, etc. to all listed. Mr. Parrington.
Yes, this is a pass-through. It's our employee, but all these different entities are paying us to have our employee do this. So we're being reimbursed for every penny. In fact, we're probably going to come out on the good on this because they're paying us to use our vehicle.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Cagnolati. Discussion, opposition. Hearing none, that motion passes. Item number 13, approval of lease agreement between Parish of Ascension and Verizon Wireless Personal Communications, LP, doing business as Verizon Wireless, for lease of property at Prairieville Fire Station. Mr. Parrington.
Yes, this is Fire District number 3. They not only are paying them to put their tower there, they're also providing them services on any tower that they have in the parish, and the Fire District has absolutely recommended that we do this.
Second.
In all districts?
In Fire District number 3, it's the agreement with Fire District number 3.
Councilman Todd Lambert, motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilwoman Casso. Discussion, opposition. Motion passes. Item number 15, amendment number 4, the professional services contract for Providence Technical Services, LLC, to extend expiration date to September 30th, 2018. Ms. Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is just to extend the contract 3 months for us to do a closeout on the project. It's completed, but we wanted to make sure we had all the documents.
Got a motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Cagnolati. Discussion. What happened?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll come back.
Okay.
So we.
That's why I was wondering.
Opposition.
I wasn't ready for it.
Sorry. Any opposition? Sorry, got out of sync here.
That's
Motion
it. Thank you.
carries. Item number 14 now. Approval to enter in a professional services contract between Architect Plus and Parish of Ascension to provide design services for the new fueling station for the parish, not to exceed $32,000. Mr. Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. President, honorable members of the council. This contract will facilitate the building of a new fueling station for the parish. There'll be a fuel canopy with 4 separate fuel dispensers with both diesel and gasoline. The design shall consider existing structures and traffic flow. It's about a 6 weeks process once we give them to notice to proceed. The architect is here if you have any architectural questions.
Any questions?
Motion.
A motion by Councilman Kluot, second by Councilman Satterley. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion's adopted. Item number 16, cooperative endeavor agreement between Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office and Catahoula Correctional Center to utilize available jail bed space to house prisoners currently incarcerated in Ascension Parish for the sum of $24.39 per day. Mr. President.
Well, historically, we have never had over the capacity of women in our jail, which is like 48. Labor Day weekend, we had 63. So I don't have to tell y'all that, we could get in trouble for over housing, so they had to let some of them out or whatever. So we need to go in an agreement with this jail to house our women prisoners, up to 20 of them.
Motion by Councilman Kluot, second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Questions? Any question? Ms. Casso.
Mr. President, has anyone helped you to understand, and could you inform us if these are mental health issues, or these violent crimes?
Well, we work in,
looking at?
it's mostly drug problems, but we have mental health working with us in the sheriff's office at the jail, and she will tell you that whatever we can do, we will. If we need another counselor, we will do that. but it's just something that's jumped up, and I don't know why it's that many.
Councilman Kluwat.
Yes, basically all the systems we talked about prior meetings about helping, and I'm glad to hear this is not juveniles, but the fact is.
Well, juveniles are $2-something a night, $235.
$250 a night.
And
Anyway, basically, these people that are in the jail, and that's who the judge's chambers are sending to the jail, right?
Right, and we're still working with, she left, mental health is working with, we're working with the judges, the DA's office, Judge Strongberg and Ms. Terry has been in some of those meetings, and we're doing everything we can for the epidemic of the heroin, but this is something that jumped up, and nobody knows why we got so many women now.
And this is not necessarily a permanent situation?
No, it's
or
just.
Is it a trend that we? Like
well, we don't know, and.
We talk about this all the time.
But it's about the best we can get because that's the standard, $24 a day.
I'm good with the deal. I'm
And-
not talking about the overpopulation.
No, hopefully it'll go down, but I mean, we are increasing in size in the parish, so.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Councilman Turner.
Well, I think we need to clarify a few things. First of all, they're in the parish jail. They haven't been sentenced yet. They've just been arrested. So that needs to be clarified. And do we have a list of what they're in there for and what their bonds are? Because we're assuming they're in there. I'm not assuming. We have councilmen who are assuming that they're in there for drug use, but we don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, correct.
And the second case is why aren't they able to make a bond? Are the bonds too high and they're keeping them in there? And how is this affecting us as far as paying $25 a day? And what type of bond do they have? And some type of correlation between those two numbers?
Well, I can't give you that information right now, but I can get it to y'all, and I can tell you though that this jail will bring them back and forth to court for us in that price, which is good. But I can't answer those questions you just asked. I don't know. I just know that we're overpopulated and we got to do something about it.
Well, I guess my second question, my first question would be: are we overpopulated because the dockets aren't moving?
I can't tell you that. I don't know. The sheriff called me on a Monday about this and said we got to act quick, and I got with Bill Dawson and we got it on the agenda because we can't get in any trouble with this. And so the sheriff wasn't taking any more after he got to that number, and so.
Is there any way for us to get this information of exactly what they're charged with and what their bonds are?
I don't know that, but I'm sure I can get it for y'all. You know what I mean? We're gonna work on trying to reduce the population of the women, but.
Sorry. Further discussion, questions? We have Ms. Castle.
I just want to reiterate what Councilman Turner said. I agree that we need to understand what this population looks like so that we can evaluate this as we move forward in the meetings that we are having. So I would appreciate being able to be afforded that
I will get y'all that information, but this is
Certainly
not something we
redacted,
get
it's
locked
not-
into, it's
Right.
just something we need right now, and I will look into that information, and let me just tell y'all, we are looking at a process of that ankle bracelet thing, but we're working with the company right now because it's not too good when they don't let you, you watch TV and a kid cuts the bracelet and you think the alarm goes off. Well, they don't get notified for 24 hours. The kid could be halfway to New York. So we're working with the company. The sheriff office said if we can get the company to notify them as soon as it happens, they will try to go pick them up. And we could go to the ankle bracelet, which is a lot cheaper. But it's not acceptable to notify you 24 hours after the bracelet is cut.
I've got Councilman Turner. I'm gonna catch you second. Councilman
Well, I think
Turner.
part of the problem with the ankle bracelet is most families can't afford that ankle bracelet. I want to say it's $200 or $300 a month. So it may be cheaper for the parish, but the individuals can't afford those ankle bracelets, and there's not any type of subsidy that you can get for those ankle bracelets. So if you can't afford it, you're back in jail.
Well, we talked about the parish paying for them, but I didn't think it was that much money.
Yeah, because they have to be monitored by, I want to say it's River Parish security system or something of that nature. And they have to install, you have to have a hard line at the house. So if you don't have a hard line at the house, they have to install one.
Oh, you're correct about that. Yes, that's true. But so we're trying to work through those obstacles, but right now this is the best option we have.
Councilman Kluwat.
Yeah, with my motion for this.
You have the motion.
Yes, I would think that what we got in front of us tonight is something that the sheriff wants to try to eliminate a problem that he has. And we've got a host of questions that I don't think Mr. Matas, the parish president, can answer. Anybody on the.
We'll get you all the information.
And if we want to get the sheriff or somebody from the sheriff's office to come back and give us something, or judge's chambers, we can do that at a later date.
Mr. Parent.
Councilman, let me just advise you, you have the obligation to provide jail space. The sheriff maintains it, but if you have to provide him jail space. So that's basically what this is. This is just an overflow, because if they're arrested and need jail, we don't have the choice to release them, and you have an obligation to provide a jail cell for them.
Further discussion. Ms. Council.
Just a comment. I certainly support this. I just want to be well informed so that as we, and better inform the discussions that we're having with the judiciary about our issues. So thank you very much. I didn't mean to raise too many questions.
I understand what you're saying, and I mean, I don't have those, it's an emergency right now, you know, we do this, and then I will get someone to answer all those questions for y'all.
Mr. Sadley.
Yeah, kind of a well, actually, it is a question. O'Neill, the president's been talking lots about we can get in trouble, and you just said that we're obligated.
You're mandated to provide
okay,
jail
so
space.
if we didn't do something even like this, an emergency, what is the penalty, and how much does that cost? I mean, I'm assuming that's a lot more than $24.39 a day.
I mean, you could be sued to provide jail space.
So one lawsuit.
It's a mandated law requirement that you provide jail for the sheriff. The sheriff operates the jail, but it's the parish government's responsibility to provide a jail.
We got to do this now. Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Cluart, second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Any opposition? None. Motion's adopted. Item number 17, introduction of ordinances to revoke an existing 47-foot drainage servitude located across the southeast corner of tracks A-2-B-2, A-2 and A-2-B-2-B, and the reduction of an existing 62-foot drainage servitude to 30 feet along the southern portion of the eastern property line of track A-2-B-2-B of the former V. Price LeBlanc's property along Louisiana Highway 30. Mr. Cluart moves to introduce. Motion's introduced. Item number 18, introduction of ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code, Appendix 4, Subdivision Regulations, Section 17-405I, Preliminary Plat Procedure.
Introduce.
Mr. Todd Lambert, was it? Yeah, Mr. Todd Lambert moved to introduce. Ordinance is introduced. Item number 19, introduction of ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code, Appendix 2, Development Code, Section 17-2090, Administration and Enforcement. E, Application Requirements for Development Permits.
Motion to introduce.
A motion by Councilman Lawler to introduce. Ordinance is introduced. Public hearings. Reading of ordinance, budget amendment number 3 to change the term department to Ascension Parish Citizen Service Center Office under the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness Department. Mr. Barrington.
In order to approving, adopting, and appropriating 2018 operating capital budgets for the parish of Ascension, adopted by Ascension Parish Council on the 3rd day of November 2017, Section 1, the Ascension Parish Council hereby ordains the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating 2018 operating and capital budgets for the parish of Ascension is hereby amended, approved, and appropriated as follows. Operating budget, general fund, Ascension Parish Citizen Service Center, to create an Ascension Parish Citizen Service Center office. The expenditures, salary, $4,000, salary non-exempt, $19,000, FICA, $2,000, retirement, $2,000, health, life, dental insurance, $10,000, health savings account, $1,000, professional services, $70,000, workers' comp, $500, operating supplies, $10,000. The ordinance has been submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Public hearing.
Open.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Cagnolati.
Motion to close.
A motion by Councilman Satterley, second by Councilman Cagnolati to close the public hearing. The ordinance, budget amendment number 3 to change the term department to Ascension Parish Citizen Service Center Office under the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness Department.
Move the ordinance.
Got a motion by Councilman Cagnolati, second by Councilman Satterley to move the ordinance. Discussion, objections. Hearing none, the ordinance is adopted. Item number 23.
Chair, Chair, could I have a second?
Mr. Cluett.
I just want to
Good
take,
of the order. Good of the order.
for the good of the order, I just want to take a second to personally congratulate someone. A lot of you knew my brother Roger when he was around, and know my sister-in-law, Kat, the bourgeois Cluot, and very proud parents of, as of Tuesday, the commission of Fulberg Colonel Spencer Cluot, who was now teaching at West Point and doctorate degree in economics.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
we're very proud. So good.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn, second. Any opposition?